Hey, Brad.
Good morning. How are you, sir?
Not too bad.
It's
I'm
been a while.
I'm pleasantly surprised. I didn't think there would be one other person.
Well, I figured I wanted to see what you had to say and what we were all doing wrong.
Sounds good. Well, we still got about another 6 minutes, so. Can do you hear my sound okay? There's no problems?
You loud and clear.
Good.
As soon as I mute my boob tube, you won't hear my background noise.
Okay. Well, I've got a new microphone set up because I'm in the process of setting up a YouTube channel. So
Oh.
I wanted a better, so, I mean, my computer, it's an all-in-one. It's got a great system. However, there seems to be some flaws with it when I speak on the streaming. Hey, Russ.
Howdy.
Welcome aboard.
Thanks.
Well, I was proven wrong. We have 3.
Outstanding.
Yep. Oh, man. I'll give it about another 5 minutes since things will, before we get started. What you got second session, don't you?
Yes.
Okay. Back is still.
So can you see my background?
Yeah, I do.
Does it look normal or does it look reversed?
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Okay.
It's better than mine. I can't pull up a background.
It looks reversed when I see myself, so that's why I wanted to make sure it was right.
No, you're fine. Are you using the app to do that?
Yeah, you should. Are you logged in as a guest?
No, I'm logged in as myself.
Then you should be able to set a background. You can go up to those 3 dots at the top. Do you see those 3 dots?
Yeah.
Click on that.
I don't
and
see
then scroll down to apply background effects.
I don't have that.
Interesting.
Yeah, here's what happened. I'm using the Microsoft 365 platform.
Yeah, me too.
And it's not giving me that. And then when I downloaded the Teams app, it wiped out the calendar appointment. So I had to go back to it. So you get to see my lovely place.
Well, you might talk to Logan. He might be able to help you with that.
Now, for 1 hour session, that it's probably just going to have the 3 of us. I think you can enjoy seeing my lovely place. And if you see the dog wander by,
it looks pretty nice.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you. But if you see the dog walk by, he's over with Sandra, but who's in the other room. So.
Well, I'm going to shut off my camera for bandwidth issues.
Yeah, okay. But it does work, so you're good to go when you do your session.
Cool. Thanks.
Yeah. Let me see. Welcome. And who just came in?
Yes, I just got in. Good morning.
Okay, and who are you, sir?
William Martin, senior member of Martinsburg Unit.
Oh, okay. Okay. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
We'll do a short introduction once we get started.
Okay.
Okay. We've got another minute or so. And I guess this is going to be a Martinsburg centric presentation.
That's a good thing.
Yeah. Okay. It's 10:45. Since we're on a tight guideline, we'll get started and people can just come in. This is the session on Inspector General. As the Wing Inspector General, I'm required to provide training to the wing on an annual basis per our regs. So I am doing this during the conference to take this opportunity. I wish there'd be more, but I have come to the conclusion that Inspector General is, for most people, is not the most sexy presentation and is probably the necessary evil. So I'm happy for what I've got. So you three probably know each other, but let's go around and just do a short introduction in case someone doesn't know each other. Go ahead. Okay.
Well, I'll go ahead and start. My name is Rush Chazelle. I'm the assistant wing IG.
I'm Brad Williams. I'm a member of the Martinsburg Composite Squadron.
I'm William Martin. I'm a member of the Martinsburg Composite Squadron and joined at the end of June of this year.
Well, welcome aboard. We're glad to have you. I know Sandra's talked highly of you.
I'm hoping I can help out, and I appreciate all of her help in getting me acclimated to the Civil Air Patrol.
Good. I am Lieutenant Colonel Raymond Feliciano. I am a member. Well, I was a member of Martinsburg Composite Squadron. That is my home unit. I am the Wing Inspector General. A short bio of mine. I joined Civil Air Patrol originally in 1986, and I was actually in a unit in Europe, in Germany. That's where I got my start as a senior member in Civil Air Patrol. I was active duty Air Force at the time. I then went to Arkansas Wing and then Ohio Wing, and then took a break because I wanted to finish up my college. The break took longer because of life, and I then rejoined CAP in Ohio Wing in 2004. Since then I've been in Ohio, Maryland. I've worked in Middle East region, now Mid-Atlantic, and then West Virginia. I've held command. I'm a pilot, not current, but I'm still a pilot, working on getting myself back. I've done professional development. I've done DDR and also Inspector General. Then I became Wing Inspector General in 2017 and haven't looked back since. I really love being in DIG. It's thankless. It can have good moments and bad moments, but all in all, I have had a great time as being the Wings IG. So this is going to be a very fast slide presentation, so feel free to ask questions anytime you want. Do a share, and it's pretty much going to be just how okay. Can you see the slides?
This came up.
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay. Okay. So I'm going to go into various aspects of the IG program and how we serve the wing commander. The Inspector General program is the commander's program. I work directly for the commander, and our job is to ensure compliance, and not only through inspections, but through complaint resolution. Things have changed in that aspect, and I'll go over that in the slide presentation. Again, if you got questions, feel free to ask at any time. We'll go into the inspection program. I'll go quickly into reviewing any of the discrepancy trends, any recurring SUI errors, go into the complaint resolution program, and the changes to the professional track of the IG. Okay, for us, this does not count for recurrency training. Darn. Normally, after each presentation, there'll be the opportunity to ask questions, but if you see something you just want to ask, you can. This is going to be very informal. And we know the risks even in the virtual environment. Okay, for inspections. Due to our system limitations, we have to manually count discrepancies for each unit. The following unit, the data, is the likely reflective of the SUIs. These are the most common questions, and these are the percent of discrepancies. The first one is the command tab. Question 7 is are the deliverables are all the uploads provided 10 days prior to the inspection? As you can see, that is the biggest of the discrepancies. Commanders have to make sure that items are uploaded. The next one is public affairs. At this time, that particular question is no longer in the tab, which is why I have an NA next to it, but that's the next biggest. The public affairs is going through a revamp, and currently it's not an inspectable area. The next one is cadet programs. That question is does the unit have goals? We found that seems to be the next biggest discrepancy set. D7, and I don't have any supply officers with me, but this again is a high question. This is, are the items in the inventory and do they have the property tags? And finally, in command, are the duty positions filled, properly filled? So those are the most discrepancies that we've had during SUIs. Now, over the past 2 years, the average numbers of discrepancies per inspection have been 3, and we've had an ineffective SUI of 4%. So on the whole, we're doing well, but there's always room for improvement. The issues in the SUIs, non-responsive squadron commanders in both SUI preparation and clearing out the discrepancies. And you can see the examples. The key thing is make sure you have all your information put into the deliverable, into the documentation piece of the Inspector General tab. Both Russ and I are available for questions if you have issues trying to put the stuff in. But the key is everything needs to be in 10 days prior to the inspection, because technically that is when the inspection starts. We could get a lot done in the intervening 10 days if everything is in properly. Okay, other issues, doing responses on the discrepancy. By regulation, the first response has to be made 30 days from the time of the inspection, and afterwards, every month until the discrepancy is cleared. There tends to be issues with, yes, life happens, but this is a regulatory thing. And usually at around that time, I try and give a reminder to the commander. And if they continue to procrastinate, I will go to the vice commander / wing commander to get the items. The executive summary, some tend to be anemic. I would like to say that I'm proud to say that our IG teams, SUI teams throughout the wing, we make sure we really do we do good executive summaries. And finally, SUI training for squadron commanders. That's probably something Russ and I need to look at as to how to do the deliverables, how to prepare. That might be something we will look at in the next SUI cycle. This one, we don't have this problem at all. This is other units in the region and national. Uploading the incorrect document in the report's upload. Squadron commanders should only be dealing or putting stuff in the document, portion of the IG tab. I'll try and do a screen share just to show. We don't have any squadron commanders here, but it might be helpful so that you see it. The problem with putting it in the reports upload is, one, and that's not where they're supposed to go. You're supposed to go in the documentation, and that's pretty clear on that. Secondly, what happens is if you put it in the upload piece, you've just overwrote the report that is in there, which makes it hard to find that previous report. And I would have to go to region to try and get that report uploaded. Okay, the next one would be late and miscategorized documents in the upload. And I pretty much beat the first item to death. But the next problem is miscategorized documents. Again, I'll show you what a typical documentation piece is, but it is a lot of documentation. And if you don't have it categorized in a specific, it makes the teams job harder to find documents that are needed to do our job to run the inspection. And right now, remote inspections, obviously, it's not as effective as being there and actually talking to people, looking at things, and identifying issues. We have no choice. Right now, we're pretty much, most, if not all of the units in the wing are still in red areas, or if they go down, they can go back up in a heartbeat. There currently is no mandate to restrict the inspection to remote. I'm taking this upon myself at this time until we can show consistent below orange or red, and we will continue to do remotes or evaluate it. I will talk with Colonel Judy, who is the head of the remobilization. I'll talk to the squadron commander, and then we'll decide whether we want to go back to in person. Again, I'm taking that on myself. And I don't think the Colonel Moody or Colonel Judy will have, or the squadron commanders will have a problem with that. Once we're out of COVID, then we'll go back to in-persons. Okay. Team leaders in the IG, we have a quality assurance checklist. The squadron commanders use the inspection knowledge base. And again, currently it's if the squadron commanders have questions, Russ and I are available for questions. We're very happy to give it. We may want to change that to giving an upcoming squadron commander SUI training for their for SUIs to prepare. Okay. Any questions? I think what I'll do is I'll go into the, let's see if I can do, okay, I can. Let's see. I'm going to, well, I think complaint resolution is going to go very quickly because of the changes to the regs. So we'll just go through the slides and then I'll show you other things concerning SUIs at the very end. Complaint resolutions. What happened before General Smith made the National IG went through their major change? It would be the complainant would send a CAP Form 20, which is a complaint form. It would go to the IG. The IG would then open up a case and begin a complaint resolution. In my tenure here, I've had one complaint. Thank God. But again, the complaints are the bad part of being an IG, because you have to arrange interviews. You have to determine whether the complaint is bad, is egregious enough to continue to go to an inspection process. And then at the same time, the commander could do an investigation of their own and not even involve the IG at all. So these are the reasons for complaints. It's pretty much a breakdown, failure of communications. The complainants got unrealistic expectations, a chain of command that doesn't recognize the seriousness, and inexperienced commanders not being aware of the resolution. The two best solutions are recurring training to the membership in the purpose and process of the IG complaint resolution program, and of course, knowledge of CAP regulations. One thing that I've learned in my training is, as an IG, is bad manners do not consist of a violation of regulations. If the plaintiff, to use a lack of a better term, or the defendant is being a jerk, he's a jerk. You can't fault him unless he's egregiously violating the regs. You can talk to him at the lowest level of command, but it may not go up to the level of an investigation. So what they did within the past couple years is they came up with a new complaint resolution program. General Smith requested it. He wanted to standardize the process. He wanted specially trained individuals to be able to conduct these investigations and these files to be stored with limited access. They did away with commander-directed investigations, which is just the commander doing it on his, her, or her own, but commanders can still do inquiries. And this is the process for that. The commander decides it's warranted. The commander will do the online CAP Form 20. The national IG opens the case and assigns an investigative officer. They do a complaint resolution process, and then they'll provide a report to the commander. And then it's up to the commander to decide the next action. So wing IGs are pretty much pulled out of the process, and all the complaints are handled at national by a specialized team of complaint resolution officers. And these are the benefits. They're better served by a clear process. The wings and region commanders are reduced in their burden. There's consistency, confidentiality, and impartiality. So there's no perception of it. There's no perception, oh gosh, I hit a blank, of undue influence would be the best way to say it. The investigators have professional level training, and I'll be able to focus on the inspections without having to deal with overseeing CRs. For example, if a West Virginia cadet has an issue, they're to file it in, they're to set up an online CAP Form 20. It goes to national. I will never see that. I will never see that investigation. And then there's quicker processing of resolution, and there will be a national team handling it. Now, because of this has caused changes to our training. So if you are ever interested in exploring the IG track, these courses are available. Again, learn your CAP jobs first prior to doing this, because this does entail a certain amount of knowledge of CAP regs and CAP job functions. The first one would be Introduction to Inspections. It's an online course, and this is for anybody wanting to get an Inspector General specialty track. The next one would be Inspection Augmentee Qualification. These are for those who want to be inspection augmentees. In essence, what it is you take the online course, Introduction to Inspections. you attend one inspection as a trainee. You'll be mentored by one or two of the qualified inspectors. There has to be 2 qualified inspectors for each SUI. Once you've shown that you can do it, and you would become an inspector, a qualified inspector augmentee. And then for those who are on the SUI teams and want to be a team chief, there is the team chief certification or advanced inspection course. As you can see there, it is a prerequisite to doing the master course in inspections. And it satisfies the academic requirement for senior rating. This one, you need the Wing IG's approval, and it's by invitation only. So what you do is you tell me that you want to take it. I will go to national and they will set you up to take the course. But you have to be a qualified inspector augmentee to do it. And then every year, the IG assistant and the wing commander have to have an annual refresher. What they do is they break it down into quarterly refresher courses. It's usually tied into the IG audience, which is the newsletter. There's 4 of them each year, and the 3 of us have to take these courses, pass the courses, and then once all 4 are done, we have met the annual refresher. But it's not necessarily tied to us. Anybody can take them. If you want to hear news about the IG audience or what's going on in IG field, you are more than happy to do it. You can email me and I can send you a link to the audience. Now this is for those wanting to go into complaint resolution. They have a basic, because of what they did to the splitting off the complaint process, they've changed it up, and they have basic complaint resolutions and advanced complaint resolutions. So and then the IG Master course, it was formerly known as the IG College, and it's going to be annual. And what they're doing is they're splitting the curriculum into 2 as opposed to 1 combined course. One will be complaint resolution, which will get you the qualification to be a national complaint resolution officer, and the other one will be for inspections. I don't believe they did one in 2021, or at least I hadn't heard anything. Russ, did you hear anything about that?
No, I don't believe they're going to do one in 2021.
Okay. All right. So I haven't heard anything else as to what they're going to do. If you've taken the IG senior course since 2029, you've got the prerequisite for the complaint resolution path. Now, what they're doing for specialty track training, and that's still out under development, is the current specialty track has the 2 pieces combined. Once they come out with the new specialty track, you'll be allowed to pick which track you want to follow, whether you want to go inspections or whether you want to go with complaint resolutions. And each one will have their own path. All right, these are the slides. Now, there was someone else who came in. Hello, Colonel Pierce. How are you?
Good morning, and thank you for the invite.
Oh, you're welcome. All right, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to backtrack into some of the things that you would need to know for an SUI. We have plenty of time, so I'll just go into. Okay. You still see my screen, right? Okay, you're squadron commander panicking because your inspection's coming up. You go into these services, click on Inspector General, and then you'll see the big bird here. And this is the Inspector General homepage. Then you go to into the drop-down box. This is where you would do your uploads. Never, let me stomp on my feet a few times. Do not go into this one. This is reserved for the IG/IGA to upload reports. You wouldn't believe, in conversations with the region IG, you would never believe how many people have screwed that up, and that was shown in the slides. So you go into this is going to be the wing headquarters. We don't need that. Let's go to, I'm going to pick on Martinsburg because you guys are mostly here. As you can see, there's the drop-down box for the various units. Pick on Martinsburg. So this is Martinsburg's downloadables for the previous inspection cycle. A lot of information. And as you can see that if it's not categorized right, it makes the inspector's job difficult to try and track things down. So what I recommend the squadron commanders do is there's a file type to upload. If you click on that, it will bring up the various tabs. This is where you can upload the tabs, and it comes up to the nice benefit is that if you click on a tab, it only gives you those items that are filed under that tab. And then you could put a file here and then add the documentation file. Very simple, and it makes the inspector's life a lot easier. Any questions on that? Okay. Okay. Like I said, I wish there were squadron commanders here, but with a lot of sessions going on, this is not necessarily a conceived priority. Okay. Any questions? Okay. So what I'm going to as a nice to see thing, I'm going to show you what complaints were out there and what in the past 2-3 years, and what were the percentage of complaints that were out there each of the years. So in 2019, the top 3 complaints, as you can see here, are cadet protection, abuse of authority, and violation of CAP regulations. And then there's others that continue. Sexual harassment comes in the top 5. So that was in 2019. 2021. Okay, who can tell me what is missing in the top complaint? And why it's missing from the top 5?
Sexual harassment.
Hmm?
Sexual harassment's missing.
Yeah. What else?
We haven't been meeting in person, so that's probably harder to
Right. Cadet protection lost the #1 spot because obviously we weren't meeting. The biggest one is violation of cap regs, which means people are not. And then for 2021, again, the violation of cap regs is the first, and abuse of authority and conduct of unbecoming. Now, cadet protection did rise from outside of the top 5 to #4 because we started meeting again, but then dropped it. We went back down. The one place that complaints usually tend to happen when they relate to cadets are when you have like the encampments or certain activities. So usually prior to the summer, I'll come on and say, keep an eye on your cadets, let's make sure they don't have a reason to complain. Okay. Now, this you can find on the national website. This is information on the SUIs. This is accessible to everybody. These show the tabs that go out to the squadron commanders, the process graph of how an SUI is conducted, and an example plan of action when a discrepancy is found. Let me open up a tab just to show you. These are fillable. You can go in and it's very, very straightforward as to what you need to pass this particular question. For example, does the unit have an internal aerospace ed program? This is how you verify the compliance. If you do not, this is what the team member will use to write up the discrepancy. Everything is right here, and it's easy to figure out how best to make sure you pass this item. The big thing to remember is that if you have a discrepancy in that particular item, you fix it. You want to make sure that you're continuing to keep up on it, because what happens is if you have a repeat discrepancy in that tab, that hurts your chances to maintain an effective rating. The bar for an effective rises by a repeat discrepancy, and it hurts your chances to have a decent inspection rating. Now, when we do SUI inspections, we're not inspecting the person. We are inspecting the program. So never take a discrepancy personally. Always consider that the discrepancy is you had a shortfall. We identified it. It was not done per regulation. So we need to, it's our way to help fix the problem. Okay, and I think I have beaten I'm gonna double check, make sure how am I doing on time? Okay, so right now I have gone through my presentation, and I will open it to any questions that you may have. Quiet.
I got a question, and it's
Sure.
a little off subject. When you had that that bar chart of all the complaints that were up there,
Mhm.
one thing I noticed in there, based on my former background as an FDA compliance person, was falsifying reports, and it was luckily it was a very small number. But that would seem to me to strike that that's a far more serious offense than maybe some of the other lesser offenses, you know.
That
Would something like that stimulate a different kind of investigation? Or would it tie in with conduct unbecoming?
Well, if it's false, that seems to be a not having run into it. It seems like could be categorized into violation of regulations, fraud.
Yeah, and I saw that listed as a separate category too. And
Yeah. So I am not sure how they
set my antenna going.
Yeah. Well, having done I can't access the complaint system because that's a confidential storage source, and really it only gets activated if I had a case, which at this point I will not have. So I do remember that when they actually go into the complaint thing, they can actually categorize the complaint in such a way.
Okay, well, I just was asking because I saw those, and they were luckily they were a low number, but
Yeah. Now,
one is too many when it comes to fraud or
agreed.
falsifying reports.
Agreed. And actually, I meant to bring this up. I'm going to share one more thing. Okay, let's go here. General. Okay. Okay, complaints. Okay. Okay. Here's where you can do the online complaint. So it's in the national website. Here's the related document, CapReg 20-2 on complaints. And this is an online link that links you into the CAP Form 20. This should be the primary means to submit a complaint. Now, what squadron commanders should do is, if a person has a complaint, try and resolve it. If it gets to the point where they want to talk to the IG or the assistant IG, what we're going to tell them is, if you've got a complaint, we will give them this link. Everything has to go to national. Now, they can send via mail, because there is a form on in the forms document. They can send it to us, but the IG and assistant IG will be required to mail them to national. National is the clearinghouse for complaints. So This is the first point a complainant should go. If they can't resolve it at the squadron level. It needs to be resolved at the lowest possible location. Any other questions?
I have been appointed as the personnel officer, I guess. And so all of this is new, just stepping into this in June. So I'm trying to get acclimated with all of the regs and documentation and forms and stuff. And I believe we have an inspection coming up in April, March. Okay. So with that, I'm going to try to go through everything that we have to make sure that we are current and try not to have any discrepancies. So I may have some questions in the future as I progress through this.
The best thing to do is, now each regulation has compliance elements, which what they've done is they've taken the tab at the time. Let me caveat that. At the time the regulation was written, those compliance elements were there, which means they are not necessarily up to date. So what the best thing to do is go to the national website, pull up your tab, and that will help you. The tab for personnel, for example, looking at that will tell you what the inspector is going to look at. Now, that doesn't stop you from looking at all the applicable regs, but that at least gives you a guiding point to what you need to do.
Okay, I will check that, and thank you, and I'll have some more questions as I get involved in this probably.
Sure. Yeah, because there are regs still out there from before 2019 and the compliance elements have been vastly changed from them. One of the big ones right now is public affairs. We have a brand new tab for public affairs. They are still in the rewrite of the regulation. So because of that, we've been pretty much told to hold off on inspecting public affairs until they finalize the rewrite. So every inspection, I go and do a double check with Region just to confirm that that's still the case. Good question.
Thank you. It was a very informative presentation.
Thank you. I just wish that one more squadron commanders would be in this, because they're the ones that they're the ones that really need this training, because one, they need to know where to go for documentation, what to do, how to avoid a complaint coming down to their unit. So I wish we had more, but it's good that I got some. So unless there are any other questions, you get an extra 10 minutes on your break and enjoy the rest of the session, the conference.
Thank you very much, Ray.
You're welcome, sir. Russ, can you hold on? Can you stay on when?
Yeah, we're still recording though, so if you want to talk privately, we probably should do it separately.
I agree.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay.